The rim is back. The racket back. I'm here, man. I'm so here. Um, I'll tell you what's been going on in my life later if you're interested in that. But for new viewers, I'm gonna go ahead and jump into the title of today's video, which is Kawhi Leonard might create the biggest domino effect in NBA history. For anybody who doesn't know, hasn't been paying attention, literally knows nothing that's going on, essentially, Steve Ballmer and the Clippers allegedly have given Kawhi Leonard extra money through uh, an endorsement deal. Okay, we'll get more into it here in a minute. Before I have notes. I haven't done this in a long time. Forgive me. I wrote down stuff while I was at work and I was bored. So before I was born, athletes were getting paid under the table all the time. Like for since athletes were a thing, they've been getting paid under the table. Now, most notably, it always happened in the NCAA, and everyone knew it was happening, but nobody ever did anything about it unless you got caught. And if you got caught, sucks to suck, pretty much. Nowadays, that doesn't matter. College athletes get paid, and that is wonderful. Um, I knew that there were contract clauses in every professional athlete's contracts, but I didn't know that they too were capable of getting paid under the table. So, like, I knew that professional athletes have clauses in their contract. I'll talk about some of Kawhi's later, but I didn't know that they would extend this far to where they also would get paid under the table because I thought that professional leagues like the NBA would know everything. Like they would know if a team is doing this or a team is doing that. I thought that they wouldn't be able to do it. Is what I'm saying. Um, there was the Joe Smith to the Timberwolves in the 2000s that happened illegally, but that was different. That was Joe Smith, not a perennial superstar, Kawhi Leonard. So they were fined $3.5 million, which is $5.6 million today, and they forfeited 5 first-round picks, which I think they got 3 or 2 of them back. Don't quote me on that. But all of that happened for Joe Smith, not Kawhi Leonard. So here we go. Again, if this turns out to be true, this could be the biggest domino effect in NBA history. What I mean by that is, first of all, taking the fact that every team has an owner. Every owner makes a different amount of money. Steve Ballmer, in particular, is like the 7th richest person in the world. Not team owner, person. So a guy like Steve Ballmer could be like, hey, sign this, dot that, you know, here's your extra 50 million. But a guy that owns, what did I write down? The Timberwolves, for example. I think it's a share, but a guy like Alex Rodriguez isn't able to throw 50 million at a guy just because he wants to. I mean, I'm sure he could. These are all millionaires at the end of the day. They make more than me and you will ever see in our life, unless I win a Powerball. Anywho, Adam Silver would have to punish them, and I think he has to make it a bang. So hopefully no other team tries to do it again. If they just give them a slap on the wrist, every other NBA team will look at it as a get out of jail free card. One get out of jail free card where you can do it one time and then you'll get whatever the Clippers get. That's why it has to be a crazy, like, Kawhi, forfeits his contract. The Clippers lose X amount of picks. Something like that. Something crazy. But this has to be taken care of because if they don't, then the whole thing Adam Silver has been working towards, which is parity and an equal playing field, is out the window. So if you don't do it, what's the point? Essentially, like, you know what I mean? Like, if you don't control your rules, why have them? Because if you are a fan of a small market team and they don't take care of this, you might as well just give up being a fan. There's no point in watching because if they don't do it right the first time, then the larger market teams will be able to continue doing it. And if you're a fan of the Bucks and you don't get super lucky and draft a guy like Giannis, you're toast. Unless your owner is billionaires, billions, and he's willing to spend the money like it's MLB, but it's not MLB. We have a cap. So fix it. Anywho, Pablo Torre did a podcast episode on Pablo Torre Finds Out. I'll link it down below. He does a better job than I ever will. It's like a 3 hour long podcast. And yeah, if you want to hear the whole thing, go watch that or listen to it or both. He went over stacks of documents claiming that Kawhi Leonard, Steve Ballmer, and the Clippers circumvented the salary cap by having Kawhi sign a $48 million endorsement with a company called Aspiration under the table. That's 100% illegal. At first, it was rumored to be 28 million or 20 something million, and then a couple days later, it progressed into that it was actually $48 million. And the reason why I've been taking so long to even make this video is because I wanted more information to come out and, have as much information as I could for you guys. For the ones that watch basketball but don't keep up with the news, maybe something like that. Aspiration recently went bankrupt. Steve Ballmer went on to ESPN and basically said that he was scammed and a victim. The NBA recently started its own investigation on the situation, hiring a firm. I don't know why I couldn't think of that. I've got pictures here of some screenshots because Mark Cuban pitched in or had something to say on Twitter to Pablo Torre's team, and he said, and I quote, "I'm on Team Ballmer. As much as I wish they circumvented the salary cap first, Steve isn't that dumb. If he did try to feed KL money, knowing that he was at stake for him personally and his team, do you think he would let the company go bankrupt, knowing all creditors would be visible to the world? They got scammed by Aspiration, along with many others, crimes for which they pleaded guilty last week." End quote. And he went on to say, invite me on the podcast, we'll go over it. And I think they did an episode together. Not 100% sure if it came out, but I did see them have another, not quarrel, but like they talked again on Twitter. And yeah, so they had their episode, they talked about it. And Pablo Torre is still finding out stuff to this day about Aspiration. And the more and more that comes out, the more and more I'm leaning towards Kawhi and the Clippers did something wrong. At first, when the news broke, I was like, maybe Kawhi didn't know. If I got offered a $20 million endorsement, why can I not remember words? If I got offered a $20 million endorsement to not have to do anything, sign me up. You know what I mean? But maybe he did know. Maybe he knew the whole time. And at first, the whole thing was like, not enough evidence, nothing to point the finger at, blah, blah, blah. But now there is. Pablo brought proof that a chairman of the Clippers, Dennis J. Wong, invested $2 million into Aspiration, which was failing and struggling financially at the time that he did it. 9 days after he gave his investment, Kawhi Leonard was paid $1.7 million by Aspiration, again, a company that was struggling financially. Very identical numbers. On top of that, Dennis J. Wong's daughter allegedly worked for the Aspiration company as a project manager operations strategist. Whatever that means. Just something to sound professional. Allegedly, before the payment was made in 2022, Kawhi had played in only 26% of games due to right knee stiffness, but the day after it was deposited, he went on to play 82% of the Clippers' remaining games. It's very interesting. Kawhi has since been known to be very injury prone. He hasn't played a full season in forever. Has he played a full season? Off the top of my head, couldn't tell you. What I do know is that Kawhi hasn't played a full season in a long time, if he ever did. Maybe this has something to do with it. Maybe he's just all about the money. Maybe Kawhi Leonard and his camp are only here for the money. Maybe it's another Jokic thing. He's very good at basketball, but He'd rather be doing something else. When Paul George signed with the Clippers, he said, and I quote, actually, I don't quote because I don't know if this is the quote, but he said, "Give me what Kawhi got." And people are now starting to wonder if that was referring to what is going on right now. Obviously, Paul George isn't going to come out about anything. It'd be stupid of him to do that. It's also been allegedly stated that Kawhi and his camp also asked the Raptors for some crazy, outlandish things when signing with them. So before, I thought, maybe Kawhi didn't have anything to do with it, and then all of this stuff happens, and I'm like, yeah, maybe Kawhi is in on it, and I love Kawhi. I hate that this is happening, but it's not looking good. I think with all the other documents, plus this new news, that has to be enough evidence for Adam Silver and the NBA to do something. Adam Silver has the power to do something right now because the CBA basically says that a punishment can be brought forward if you can prove the crime directly or with circumstantial evidence. I believe we have enough circumstantial evidence in play to do something. And again, it needs to be something great, or else it will not stop. Um, Adam Silver, speaking of which, recently was at the podium to talk about some things around the league, including the Kawhi situation. But first, and this really, really made me mad. First, he called the NBA a highlight sport when asked about the rising cost of being able to consume the NBA by watching live games, stating that the NBA is a highlight sport where people can watch highlights for free on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, etc. So basically, if you can't afford to watch NBA games, a child's game blown up professionally, you can watch it on TikTok or you can watch it on YouTube. But I don't care. As long as you have Wi Fi and your phone works, I hope you can access a basketball page because we're not lowering the prices, which is nuts. And they wonder why so many people stream illegally. It's because you don't care about the viewership. The viewership has gone down because of you, probably. I mean, I'm not an analytics guy, but it just makes sense to me, and I just punched my mic. So if you heard that, I'm sorry, but it just made me angry. Back to the Kawhi thing, he essentially just said he won't take any action unless there is refutable evidence. So he's not going to do anything unless Pablo Torre keeps getting in his bag or these investigators that they hired get in their bag and find something, which is dumb. I think there's plenty of evidence there to do something. Mark Stein is being quoted as saying, I've been spoken. I already messed up the quote. He's quoted as saying, I'm sorry, I've spoken to multiple team strategists, for example, who told me with chest puffed that if the Clippers aren't docked multiple first round picks, if Leonard's contract isn't voided while his salary obligations remain on the Clippers' books, they will feel emboldened to seek out their own versions of shell companies to provide additional compensation to their players. Basically saying, hey, if you don't take care of that, we're going to take care of it ourselves by doing the same thing. So, again, if Adam Silver doesn't punish the Clippers heavily, they're just going to do the same thing. And the NBA won't change. Actually, it will change. It will go back to what it was before the thing you implemented to stop super teams. It'll just go back. For however many years now, Adam Silver and the NBA have worked on trying to make the NBA more fair in a parity league by eliminating super teams with the second apron. What if teams have been doing this workaround, but the Clippers were the first ones to get caught? Just like college. Like I said earlier, teams were doing it all the time. Only certain teams got caught. What if the Clippers are the first ones to get caught? Either way, this is about the principle of you making rules for teams to follow and then they go behind your back and break them. Are you, Adam Silver, going to let them do that and get away with it? If you do, what's the point in having the rules? What's the point in creating a second apron for more parity when you'll allow there to be none? Do something. That's what I have in my notes. Pablo Torre also said that he would be looking into the Jalen Brunson and his contract cuts next. I don't know if he started that. Again, that was from like the day after the Kawhi thing broke out. So I don't know if he's already started it. I don't know if how far ahead at in it. But if you're interested in that, I would keep up with Pablo Torre. Those are my final thoughts. My final thoughts are literally just do something. In the comments, tell me what you think they should do that would be fair for, well, I mean, it shouldn't have to be fair to the Clippers if they broke the rules, but you know what I mean. Now, with all that being said, I'm going to tell you where I've been. Right? It's terrible for those that care. So essentially, I told you I had plans for the offseason. I was going to do the GM thing of every single team and yada, yada, yada. I started it, and you don't know how difficult it is to make your own world where you have to keep up with every person you move, every person you sign, every person that's, uh, I don't know, got a contract extension. It's so much work. I tried to use ChatGPT. I tried to use other AIs to help me out and keep pace of what's going on. So, like, if I traded Jonathan Kaminga to so and so, I'd be like, hey, ChatGPT, remember this. And then I'd be like, hey, if I was the GM of so and so, if I was the GM of the Magic, who would you trade for? And it would give me some players that are like, here's blah, 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 go get Jonathan Kaminga from the Warriors. And it's like, I just told you we traded him. You can't remember a thing, and I'm not going to be able to remember those things. So that fell through. Then I was like, okay, I can make some other content. I can go back to making like the Joel Embiid video where I was like, he's the biggest what if of all time. Hot take, Joel Embiid might be done for forever. I don't want that to be the truth, but the knee thing sounds so scary. So I thought, let's go back into making some of those videos. And then my wife broke her ankle in like two places. She had tendons that weren't connected. And so ever since that happened, we've had people in and out of the house 24/7 until like right now, pretty much. And for those of you that know, that's been here, I have dogs, and the dogs bark. I'm sure I probably picked up some barking from outside just in this video. But when it's inside the house, it's horrible, and you can't record, and people are coming in and out, and blah, 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 and it's hard to record. On top of that, I've had stress from my job because I am moving to a new job. I got a new job. It starts in 2 weeks. And just basically I had a lot going on, as you could tell. That's why I wasn't uploading. It's not because I didn't want to. It's not because I didn't have the drive. It's because I couldn't. But here I am. And hopefully I'm here to stay for a while, Hopefully I have more stuff to talk about. And hopefully you guys stick around for it. And for the background, I don't know what to do with it. I don't know what to do with it. We're still working on her room in there, but since she broke her ankle, it's kind of tough. Because that thing is a shirt press. We make shirts on the side, and it needs to go in her room, which is that way. I don't know why I pointed that way. That's outside, which is that way. And once that's out of there, then that's out of the picture. I can get that thing, which is a green screen holder, to put right behind me, and I can have a green screen up of anything I want. Anything I want. I could be in your house. You know what I mean? Anywho, that's where I've been at. That's what's going on. Hopefully I have more stuff. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. I know I haven't done this in a while. I want to edit it. I want to edit it because I know that I said a lot of ums and I know that I took a lot of breaks. But I'm not going to edit it because I need to get better. So I'm going to watch it back and I'm going to say, hey, maybe next time let's do this differently. And I can do that on my own, but I also want to get this video out. Appreciate all the support. If there is any support, appreciate all the hate. If there is any hate, at the end of the day, just keep living life. I don't know. I don't have an outro. See ya.